Hey everyone, Katie Skook here with Simple Life Pattern Company, and today we're going to make a tote. It's totes adorbs. I have my fabric picked out, and I am choosing to use a little bit of cork for this. And we're going to use our Cricut Maker to cut everything out, and our Cricut EasyPress 2, this huge EasyPress. It is 12 by 10 to adhere our stabilizers to our fabric. I am modifying the pattern a little bit from Design Space. It's a free pattern in there, but it does not include any stabilizers, and this is something that kind of drives me nuts. If you don't have anything structured or stiff in there, whenever you open up your bag, it's gonna just flop right down, and we don't want a floppy bag. No one wants a floppy bag, right? So I have chose to use Shape Flux, which is Pill-On SF 101. This will be for our lining, and there's a few things you can choose for your main fabric stabilizer. I'm choosing Craft Fuse. It's a pretty thick stabilizer. Another option, if you didn't want to use Craft Fuse or it's not available, you can use a fusible fleece. Now this is fusible on one side, all these are fusible. And you just adhere it using the EasyPress 2 to your fabric pieces. So this will give you a loftier, fluffier kind of bag, and this will be a little bit stiffer and not so fluffy. So let's go ahead and prep for our pattern pieces. While you're here, don't forget to subscribe. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Simple Life Patterns. You can shop our website at www.thesimplelifecompany.com. So the first thing that you need to grab is your cutting mat. This is a fabric grip mat. It's a 12 by 12, and that's all you need for this particular pattern. You don't need the 12 by 24, so if you don't have one and this is all you have, this is a great project for you, because I know a lot of the sewing projects do require the larger mat. This one does not, so go ahead and grab your fabric grip mat. You will need fabrics. You can have up to 4 different fabrics. The outside, this is going to be my main print. This is the West Palm Fabrics, my very first collection for Art Gallery Fabrics that releases in March of 2019. I'm really excited. And for the bottom portion, I'm going to use this cork that has this metallic gold shimmer flecks in it, and it's just so adorable. And it sews up really nice, and we are going to cut that on our Cricut Maker. Yay! So that's the outside, and then I'm going to use these two for the lining. And this is how you get away with only the 12 by 12 mat, is because part of your lining is cut out of this, and then the bottom portion is cut out of another fabric. I mean, because my purse usually ends up really disgusting at the bottom, I didn't want a light print, so I chose this for the bottom portion of it. You can use the same print if you want. It's totally up to you. So, and then I also have my stabilizers set out, my Craft Fuse and my SF 101. You can use whatever you have available. My maker is out. I have my Cricut EasyPress, and let's go get started on Design Space. I'm going to kind of give you a little idea of what I'm modifying in there so we can use or add the stabilizers. And I'm also going to make my handles out of the cork instead of ribbon. So let's get started. You're going to go to design.cricut.com and click on New Project. And here you'll see the sidebar, and we're going to go ahead and click Projects, because this is a pre-made project and not just an image. Right here, we're going to go ahead and search Tote, and you'll have many options to choose from. The one we are doing is this floral tote right here, and as you can see, it has Access. So if you have Cricut Access, this is a free pattern. You can see right here, it's $0, yay! Right here you'll see all the descriptions and things that you will need. Right here it says you need 30-inch ribbon. We are going to use my cork instead. 2 handles at 15 inches each is what I'm assuming. So, and it worked out great for me. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and click on Make It. And this requires a fabric marking pen. I have these pens, but this is a project I don't plan on washing anytime soon. So I'm going to turn this option off because I do not need those sewing guidelines. If you want to, you can. The washable pen is really hard to get out, so I don't really recommend it unless you plan on washing it or soaking it immediately afterwards to get the ink out. So right here we have our projects. I'm going to go ahead and just bump this up to 2. And you can see that both of these are gray because I can't customize this pattern in the Design Space. I have to kind of do it here. So we'll just say that this #1 mat is going to be my outside cork piece.
because I do not want it to be the same as my inside lining piece. I need to change this color. This is just for me because it is on its own mat. I like to have the colors coordinate with my fabrics. So I'm just going to go ahead and go move to another mat. I'm going to say a new one, and we're going to make it brown for cork. And we'll do the same thing with this one. This is totally unnecessary, but I'm always running back and forth from cleaning and doing things while my projects are usually cutting out. So knowing what color my mat is when it's up here, I know what fabric I should be cutting. So this one, we can change them all, but that's just how I change them. So you can continue to do this with all your pieces. So now you can see mat number 1 is empty. There's nothing on it. Right here now we can start cutting. You will see we have our lining. So we'll say this pink and this gray are our lining. And this nice pretty greenish blue color and the brown will be the outer fabrics. So then you just go ahead and click continue, and my machine's not hooked up right now so I can't do anything else. If you are doing cork, I did use the burlap setting for it because cork fabric is not in the list of items as of right now. So burlap worked really well for me, and then my other fabrics were all regular cotton, so I had that setting. And that's pretty much all you need to do to set up your project. And you'll cut it out once in your fabrics, and because we have it set at 2 project copies, then we're going to go back and recut everything in stabilizers. If you are using a cork, like I said, this last one right here, you will not cut that one out in a stabilizer because we do not need to use that on the back of our cork. So once you have all this set up, let's go ahead and start cutting.
Okay, we have all of our pieces cut out. I have my main fabrics along with the craft fuse interfacing. I also did the same thing with the lining and the shape flex interfacing, and along with the lining bottom and interfacing. I did not do any stabilizers or anything for my cork fabric because it is already stiff enough that I don't need to iron anything onto the back of it, so I skipped that one. So let's go ahead and get started on pressing these. This is the fun part. Okay, so I'm going to take my fabric right here. I have my EasyPress 2 warmed up to 350, and I set my timer for 15 seconds. You just can go by the manufacturer's directions on each one of these. I'm not quite sure if it's 15 seconds or not, but we're just going to go with it. So I'm going to press it flat, get all my wrinkles out of it, and kind of helps warm it up a little bit. I'm going to line up my craft fuse or whatever interfacing that you're using. You just want your fusible side down. You do not want that up, otherwise it'll be stuck to your EasyPress. So just line this up with all your raw edges. Okay, feeling pretty good about that. And I'm just going to go ahead and stick this on there and push my little button. Now it doesn't quite fit under here. Actually it might. Nope. I have about 2 inches back here, so we'll just do it twice. But imagine if you were using a household iron, that would be like at least 6 times that you would have to do this. In fact, I have my iron right there. We're going to put it on here and see how many times you would have to press each one of these for 10 to 15 seconds each. It really adds up. I made a lot of stuff using interfacing for a lot of things, and oh lordy, it could have taken me forever, but luckily I had my EasyPress 1. So okay, so here's a pretty, fairly good size household iron. This would be 1, 2, 3, so you'd have to do 4. Ooh, you wouldn't even be able to do that. You'd have to do that 8 times. to have that fully pressed on there, and we did it in 2. So just a time saver. So we did 1, let's do another one. Okay, we have our handles basted in place, and I did 1 1/4 inches from the center mark, and that's where I placed this edge. Now what we need to do is take our lining and turn it right side out. So now we're going to take our lining and slide it into our main bag, and now it will be right sides together. Match up your side seams. Okay, now I'm going to go sew right around the top, right here, using a 1/2 inch seam allowance.